Hi there, I'm Kimile, and this is Hill with Kimile podcast. Thanks for listening. We're going to talk today about extended families and how your in-laws can make your life miserable, your spouse's cousins and siblings and grandparents can make your life miserable, and how to prevent breaking up over drama from third parties, especially families. Your friends can be a problem too in relationships. So, what tends to happen is you meet someone, fall in love, you're really happy, you want to bring this person back home to meet your friends and family, and you do. You bring them into your world. But what if your world isn't always great to you? And what if your world has some people in it that are opinionated or judgmental or religious, or they don't want you to move on, or you have an ex that's still friends with your siblings and your parents, and you have kids with someone else, and you're a new person coming into this, it's a little overwhelming, it feels like a mess, and you don't have strong boundaries yet with your people. I would say to you, do not bring your new love home yet. So if you have someone you've met and you know that your people are a little crazy and you don't have a lot of boundaries set and you can't tell them no and they run you over, you probably don't even know this yet, but they may start being mean to your new love. They may not like them. They may talk about them. They may gossip about them. Now, that's just what people do, right? People talk behind people's backs all the time. But if it is suppressive in nature and it's detrimental, they're going to try and talk you out of this relationship. And I've got so many stories and so many examples of how people that just met this person, they're madly in love, they meet the family, it's like, oh, Lord, get me out of here. So to avoid that, here's what you got to do. You've got to have some clean, honest boundaries with your family, with your parents, with your siblings, with your cousins, with your ex. Because if they can call you at all hours of the night, if they can, run over and, take food out of your fridge and take it home, or they can borrow your car without asking, if they can do things to you without asking, or they just feel like they're entitled to you, your new person in your world is not going to be happy with that. They're not going to like that. So you want to be completely done with other people, especially an ex relationship. And if you have children, I realize that. But there should be a schedule. There should be, texting just regarding the children, not regarding each other, etc. So if you haven't cleaned all that up, then you're not relationship ready. And so if you're trying to start a new relationship, the new person coming in is going to feel ambushed. So this is how, if you're dating someone that hasn't got boundaries set with his family or her family, this is how you avoid the ambush. If the new person you're spending time with hasn't been able to, tell you their parents no, or they can't get their ex to quit harassing them or stalking the new woman or new male in their life, then you probably want to pull back a little bit and inspire the new love of your life to get these people either on board with them moving on, or, I want to say break up to a point, or have some firm boundaries, have some rigorous conversations about what works and what doesn't work. Because if you're dating someone that they don't have any boundaries with their people, then you're going to have to go along with their agenda, or you're going to be seen as the outcast or the troublemaker, or everything was fine until you came along kind of person. I've seen this over and over and over, and a really, really sad experience I went through yesterday with a dear client. She's been married to this man for 18 years. They've got 4 children. There's a suppressive state happening. Suppression is when he would, criticize her and then run to his family, criticize his wife to his family, and they all hated her. They went on a boat on a lake over the weekend, and there was literally a fist fight because of this kind of dynamic that's been happening 18 years. And my client, she's been bullied. She literally was punched in the face by her mother-in-law this last weekend. I know, right? And she's been hated. There's vitriol. This mother-in-law, heard her son and the daughter-in-law talking in the cabin. Maybe they were a little loud. They weren't fighting. They weren't screaming. They were just having a rigorous conversation. They've been looking at divorce, seeing if they're going to stay together. And she literally walked down the stairs, threw the door open, and said, "You need to do da 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 da." And they both said, we're talking. We'll be out when we're done, and tried to close the door. She shoved it back open. And luckily, my client had the wisdom to just stay there in the room while her husband went out and fought with his mother. And his mother was treating him like she probably treated all her other kids, which is she bullied him. She yelled at him, scolded him, attacked him just horribly. And she was attacking, my client, calling her garbage, calling her, all sorts of horrible names I can't say on here. And again, my client, thank God, did not engage. But it turned into, her husband throwing water on his mother's face. The mother, did push in and punch this woman in the face, shoved her face. It's like, oh my gosh. And then the brothers get involved, and then there's another fight. They ultimately left with, a couple of their kids. So it is an 18-year in the making saga. And I've known these people for, 7, 8 years and worked with them. But what ultimately is the case is if there's a fight, he would run home, tell on his wife, and they would hate her. They don't like her. They've hated her for years. She's put up with a lot of garbage from these people, and she's tried to be nice, tried to be friendly, tried to make amends, because they don't evolve with them with a reconciliation, meaning, when you fight with somebody, you go and talk to your friends or your, siblings or your parents, and they're going to, man, wow, we just don't like her, whatever. So when you do that, you poison them about your relationship. You poison them about your spouse. So they just want to get even. They just want revenge when they can. And what if you got back together? What if you've made up and there's been sorries and you're good with your wife now? Well, they aren't, because they haven't gone along and recovered like you are. So they just know that she's a, crazy bee, and you are unhappy, and you poor thing. And so they're fighting your battle for you because you keep running home to your family and complaining about that person, right? Your wife. So this literally came to a massive head this last weekend. And, why they're looking at divorce is because of how she is viewed and how she is seen by him and his family. And, look, at some point, the in-laws and the siblings are all responsible for their actions. But who loaded the gun? Who has been griping and complaining for years about their wife? So this is this is what happens if you just run to your people and bitch about your spouse, et cetera, or your relationship. They hate them. So they're in tight quarters. I guess they weren't helping unload the boat or clean up or something because they were having a heated discussion. And so again, she's just a bad, sick, and wrong person. So this blew, and this happens a lot. I mean, I think I've had maybe 6 or 7 examples of what I'm talking about today, that third parties get in the middle of your relationship, whether it's family or friends, and cause drama, a lot of drama. So I have one lady who's pregnant. She's married, considering leaving the husband, and her best friend, who's never been married, has no children, is trying to talk her into leaving. You can do this on your own. You don't need him. Because again, they're fighting. They're both scared. They're both scared to become parents. There's a lot of financial things they've got to put together. It's not an easy time when you're, preparing for a child. But when you've got a best friend who never liked her husband, pushing on her to leave him, it's putting her in harm's way. Okay. And then there's been things. I'm not saying he's innocent and perfect, but he's trying and he wants to be a dad. And then you've got the mother-in-law, texting all these narcissists. This is a narcissist. This is a narcissist. He's doing this. He's just like this. So I'm glad I'm talking to her, because I'm like, stop listening to other people. Listen to yourself. Look, if you're in an abusive relationship, if you are with a narcissistic person, or you're unhappy and you don't want to stay with them, well, then you deal with that, but do it with clean intent, meaning don't get talked into it, pushed into it by your friends or your mother or your dad. And again, if he's got problems with your parents, they'll tell you how to fix that. But you need to be the one deciding, this is your life. This is your child and his child, by the way. And just because you leave, even if you're pregnant, that doesn't mean that he isn't going to be part of that baby's life. That's just wholly unfair, by the way. If he's willing to be the father, wants to be the father. I mean, some men don't. They just don't want to be a part of it. They're MIA. They're gone. Okay, that's one situation, but that's not the situation. He's really eager to be a dad, and he really is trying. So if you find yourself in this situation, you must decide on your own. And if there are events, you've got to look at your own experiences, your own feelings. And then I would talk to a professional over your family and friends, because your family and friends have a private relationship with you, and they want to save and protect you. But that to me is a little bit of, they're going to baby you. And so I don't want you to be babied. I want you to be a grown woman or man and decide for yourself what you should do. Because if it's the wrong choice, I guess it's your friend's fault. I guess it's your mom and dad's fault. You must decide on your own what you want to do. This is your life. And then if you're pregnant, even more of a serious matter, because it's not just your baby, you know? So if you're in a situation like this young woman that I'm talking to, and there's in-law issues, and her parents absolutely despise her husband, they hate him. Well, needs to be facilitated by her. There's got to be some sort of amends made, conversation. We do a little drip approach. We don't, just drive over there and just walk in the house, start talking. There needs to be some sort of set up conversation. Maybe it's 20 minutes. Maybe she facilitates that. At some point, someone else has to kind of navigate this. He's not going to be able to call them directly and have it go anywhere. His in-laws and her parents don't give a crap about him. So she's going to have to say, this is my request of you. I've chosen to stay in this relationship. Yes, there's difficulties. We are in counseling. We're seeing if we can work it out. We're both going to be parents. I do love him. He loves me. The breaches of trust are not bad enough that, there isn't, massive cheating, massive drug use. There are arguments, power struggles, mean words spoken that can be worked out. So this isn't something we run from and divorce because of, right? So you have to get a hold of your people and say, this is my request of you. And I request you trust me. And I request that you believe in me and you understand that this is a difficult process and let me have some time to sort it out. And I like you, my parents, to at some point talk to my husband. If I'm going to stay with him, I'd like to have some amends be made. And he's open to making amends. And so you just, you drop that on him and then you kind of pull back. And then, you share different good things. Now, I will also tell you that a lot of these people have gone to their parents, of course, when they did fight or break up and moved out. And there was, divorce papers, they never got divorced, but they had divorce papers drawn up. Again, your camp is going to be pro you. They're going to baby you. They're going to protect you. They're going to hate him, And so when you get back together, you're now fighting them in a way to somehow save you. So this is why I think it's really important that if you're in a low mood, bad mood, you're fighting with someone, don't run to your friends and family and bitch about that person, because they're going to end up hating him. And they're not likely, going to coach you and say, well, what was your part of that? And how did we get here? And is there any way you could, work it out? They're not going to do that. They're just going to jump on the bandwagon. That MFer, and so you have to be careful when you talk about your loved one or someone you're involved with your tribe, because your tribe is pro you. For this, one of my other clients to get punched in the face when they're on a boat trip with the family, with his family, all of that was full circle this last weekend. And it's almost a little bit of a sign to her that maybe I'm really, really never going to be seen the way I want to be seen by these people. She just always wanted to be loved and accepted. Is she perfect? No. Does she have 4 children with this man? Absolutely. Is she a good mother? Yes. Does she clean her house perfectly? No. He's got a little OCD. He wants things perfect. And she tries, and sometimes it's just not the best. And he's had his vices, his habits. And, she hasn't left him over that. But it really came full circle when there was domestic violence that happened. So it's incredible to watch how third parties, when they think that they're doing the best thing for their child, their daughter, their son, how they involve themselves and they personalize things and then they attack. So if you're newly in a relationship with someone, this is a big test. How does the friends accept you or not? How do his parents accept you or not? How do his children accept you or not? How do his siblings or other relatives accept you or not? You don't just marry the person, you marry the family. We've seen that time and time again. And a lot of breakups happen because of family dynamics. I've got one situation where it's, a teenage girl, okay? And her brother is dating one of her friends. And they kind of got together and maybe they didn't ask this girl's permission, but they started dating. And literally this teenage girl got mad at her friend who is dating her brother. They're all in a car. He's driving. And next to him is his girlfriend, and which is his sister's dear friend. Well, this teenage girl got mad at them for, I guess, dating or something. She started hitting and punching her friend. Her brother's driving the car. And what does he do? Nothing. He did nothing. Now, these are young people, I understand. But this is a situation I would say to her, and I've not met her. I just know the story from the brother. But I would say to her, you're not relationship ready. You're not ready to have a relationship in your life and bring me into your world if I'm going to get abused by your sister. Okay. So I would say to her, you need to pull back. And I would not engage. I would not go to parties or dinners until this is sorted out. There's just, it's really interesting because you kind of, when you fall in love and you meet these people that you want to spend the rest of your life with or date for a long time, I don't think you expect to be ambushed or hit or beat up or attacked, but it is really actually, unfortunately, quite common. And so it should, make you stop and say, until this is kind of resolved, or you've had a discussion with your sister, she doesn't get to hit me because she should have called the police. That's domestic violence again. But she doesn't call the police because her brother says, don't get my sister in trouble for hitting you. Oh my gosh. Okay. Now let's fast forward how that's going to go. Are you really relationship ready, dude, when you're letting your sister bully you and hit your girlfriend, who is still her friend? But this is insane to me. So this is unacceptable. And for her to not call the police and not, self-care and go to the hospital and figure out if she has a really difficult, something eye issue here, because don't get her in trouble. Really, this behavior is tolerable. This should not be tolerated at all. Not be tolerated at all. I had another client, his wife and him are fighting, and they've been together for about the same amount of time. Maybe 18 years is a milestone, and people have to really reset themselves. I don't know. But about 18 years in, and they got in a heated discussion fight. She threw her phone, hit him just to the side of his eye, burst a blood vessel. It's squirting blood everywhere. Horrible hematoma. Just he couldn't see. And this is a one-off. This doesn't happen often, but he too will not call the police. He too will not, get her in trouble. Okay, she's got a temper. She's got a really, really bad temper. And has she hit her children? No, but she has spoken, I want death to you, to her husband. And I'm like, okay, at this point, if there's no therapy, that person doesn't want to get help, you're not safe. And this is how bad things happen. This last week, I had clients come in. I've known them for about 15, 16 years. And there's a 33-year-old sister. The mother and daughter came in to talk to me. The mother has a 33-year-old daughter, and it was my other client's sister, who is dead. Domestic violence fight with her girlfriend. We don't know exactly what happened because there's 3 stories at the police. But this girl is somehow became brain dead. She was still breathing, but she fell back, hit the back of her head, brain bleed, was laying there, I say, for about 2 hours. Okay. And this girl's dead because of domestic violence. Look, if you're in a relationship for a while, you're not present to maybe the danger that you're in because you're used to this. Oh, they're just blowing off steam. Oh, they always get loud. Oh, they always do that. But if it gets physical, if things start getting physical, that cannot be tolerated because at some point, I don't know that this girl tried to kill her, but I do think that there was a scuffle. They were both drunk and she got pushed, and then she probably fell back and hit her head on something. But again, without the truth from this other person, we'll never know. The police are investigating it. We'll see what happens. There could be a murder trial soon for this. Manslaughter, maybe. I don't know. But I don't know that she tried to kill her. But again, when you've got these kind of situations, these heated relationship issues, and that was over a third-party issue too. An ex-girlfriend was coming to a birthday party. So again, third-party issues are huge issues inside of relationships. If you're dating someone that hasn't got, quote, their people, their tribe, their ex, everything, kind of wrapped up and they're complete, or they still talk to them, or they're still getting messages from them, and they're not blocking it and doing what they need to do to kind of really be complete and done, or having firm boundaries, pull back. Do not continue to go into that area or arena with somebody's family until you know you're going to be accepted and safe. And guess who gets to make sure of that? Your relationship, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your spouse. Because that's their tribe, that's their people, and it is incumbent upon them to make sure that they bring you into a safe place. So if you've got any of this stuff going on in your world and you feel like you're trapped or you feel stuck or you're confused, like, well, what do I do with my mother-in-law, my father-in-law, or his sister or brother? it really isn't probably going to be handled best by you. It may be handled best by your love interest, your person. And if they won't do it, I'm going to tell you to avoid them. You need to avoid them. Because if you're fighting the battle, that's their battle. If you're taking heat, that's their heat. This is their tribe. They need to kind of tee things up for you to be safe. So if any of this sounds like something you want to talk about, I'd love to talk to you. You can find me on my website at healwithkimile.com, HEAL with KIMILE.com. Thank you and have a peaceful day.